fast-changing world, First Capital Bank Limited is leveraging the route of innovation to drive the bank forward. Mutemwa Ushewokunze, armed with 15 years of experience in investment banking, is taking the bull by the horns, leading the bank into a digitalized future. Ushewokunze is a seasoned banker whose exposure spans over 4 continents with specialized skills in commercial and investment banking, equity research and derivatives, commodities, currency, structured opportunities, and C-suite investor relations. He believes the bank's Pan-African heritage and footprint is pivotal in creating value for its clients in Zimbabwe. We are at First Capital Bank Limited, where we are in conversation with the bank's commercial director, Mr. Tengwa Kunzi. Thank you so much, sir, for inviting us into your corporate home.
Thank you for being here.
So let's get right into it. You've worked across the globe and you've amassed a great deal of knowledge. You have most recently come back from South Africa, but now you're here in Zimbabwe. What has made you come back to Zimbabwe when others are seeking to go to the diaspora for business?
I spent about 20 years overseas, across 4 continents. As you say, I did a lot of study, I picked up a lot of experience, and the call to home was always strong. Having been here for the last 8 months, I found that Zimbabwe presents us with a lot of opportunities, and it all really depends on how hard you want to work. The market is large, sectors are plenty and underinvested. And within a financial institution, and following my own developmental bias, I feel like I can contribute to growing the economy, growing the business, and ultimately becoming profitable. And that's one of my personal goals.
Okay. So from what that you have said, within the commercial space, what are the segments of industries that have become lucrative to First Capital Bank Limited, and what are your value add-ons as a business?
So recently we've spent a lot of time focusing on agriculture. But not just agriculture. Critically, what we've discovered is, broadly across the grains, there's a lot of investment that goes in, which is primarily sponsored by the government. But outside of that, in terms of your niche export products, your blueberries, medicinal hemp, etc., spices, as another example, we feel like there's a massive export opportunity for the country. And as a bank, we've decided to attack those particular segments in terms of funding. But over and above that, there is a quiet level of innovation that's taking place in Zim. There is a manufacturing value chain that is beginning to emerge, which is to say that some things that we used to make in this country 20, 30 years ago are now starting to be manufactured here again. And those businesses critically require funding, they require support, they require advice. And so we are actively looking to participate with entrepreneurs, with existing businesses, with legacy businesses that have been in the country for many, many years, since before independence, and trying to get those countries to grow, because ultimately it contributes to the growth of the economy.
So this basically means you are actively participating in the agricultural value chain. So what is your magnitude as First Capital Bank?
Yeah, so when we talk about agricultural value chain in Zimbabwe, sometimes the conception is that we are participating in government programs. We are active in some of the government programs, but not all of them. We prefer to use our balance sheet to back small, mid-scale and large-scale farmers that are essentially producing for value. So like most financial institutions, we're involved in the tobacco space. As I'd mentioned earlier, we are in some of these niche horticultural exports, but we're looking further down the chain, which is to say, you invest not just in the agriculture, but in the processor. We back a number of clients that produce peanut butter, for instance, that you eat on a daily basis, honey, jams, etc. So, there is a wide scope where the bank can play. Ultimately, for us, the critical thing is to identify where there's most value and where we can build strong partnerships that will last for a long time.
Okay, profound. So Zimbabwe has over 16 registered commercial banks. Looking at customer service bases and customer care, how is First Capital Bank different from other financial institutions?
Well, I have a pretty small team. And for me, the critical thing in terms of customer service or being able to compete with the other institutions on the street is critically to manage relationships well. And that may sound like something easy to do, but being able to answer the phone all the time, being always present, always having an answer, I think adds maximum value to your counterparts, to the organizations that you support. The critical thing about our department is we have people that have been with us for many years, which means we leverage off their experience. And Zimbabwe being such a very dynamic environment, it is critical that when the questions come, we have answers and we can respond quickly. And essentially, that's where we position ourselves within the competitive landscape.
Okay. Seems you have a really close relationship with your customers when it comes to that. So let's talk about investment banking. Where does First Capital Bank stand when it comes to that? What are its horizons going forward?
So when I arrived here some months back, there wasn't necessarily a strong focus on IB. As you know, with IB, you are critically trying to put buyers and sellers together. It's a very simple way of explaining it. Or using balance sheets that don't necessarily belong to the bank. We define that as off-balance sheet transactions. And so what we've done is we went on an exercise where we identified excess capital units and deficit capital units, and we have tried to create a market from that perspective. Over the last 3 quarters, it's been very lucrative for the bank. But over and above that, there's a lot going on in Zim. And not everything you would see in the newspaper or you would read in some magazine or you'd see on social media. There are people building developments. There are factories going up. There are people who need short-term funding. There are those who need advice. And so we are looking to participate in every aspect of that, trying to provide a full house advisory service. And actually in time we're looking to grow our IB team so we can become a force. And then outside of that, I think we've heard about the commodities exchange. We think that offers a massive opportunity because it then creates or deepens the market for those who participate in the agricultural value chain. And being able to get in there and securitize, those sorts of instruments can generate massive fees for an organization that is focused.
Okay, bog standard. So the world is slowly changing to digital banking solutions. How is the bank adapting to that from both the customer side and from the institution side as well?
Yeah, so in commercial banking, we have been developing a number of tools. One of those is called InfiniPay. InfiniPay is a bulk payment solution. So you think of a mine which has 400 employees that need to be paid at the end of every month. You can upload a file, obviously using the internet, and payments are processed. Whether it's to our bank or to other banks, that's something that we've been working on. We've got a new internet banking system coming along. We've spent a lot of time and money on it, and we think it will be market leading. But technology and innovation are a much of a muchness. Everyone is pretty much trying to do the same thing. And if you want to win, you really have to come up with products that lead. And so we are working on a few things, which you'll see in 2022, which should make that statement.
Well, we're looking forward to that. So now to just wrap up the conversation, what can your customers look forward to in future? What will First Capital Bank provide to customers in the next coming year?
So it's a great question. From the world that I've come from, we talk about innovation, the power of data. We believe that we can leverage off the information we collect as a financial institution to help our clients make decisions better, make better financial decisions, which is to say in the commercial space to understand cash flow patterns, to understand revenues and expenses, and provide a holistic service that, walks into a customer's office and tells him, this might be a better way to run your business, in line with his own strategy and his own intent. But critically, our customers should look forward to that. We are focused on being able to take their information and to manipulate their information to give us the kind of answers that makes them profitable and makes us better bankers.
Well, the future looks exciting with First Capital Bank, and we can say that.
It certainly does.
We were just in conversation with the First Capital Bank Limited Commercial Director, Mr. Mutemwa Ushewokunze. Thank you so much, sir, for sitting down with us and having this conversation today.
Thanks.